The crossing of the Red Sea, Hebrew. Romanized, Kriat Yam Suph, lit. Parting of the Sea of Reeds, forms an episode in the biblical narrative of the Exodus. It tells of the escape of the Israelites, led by Moses, from the pursuing Egyptians, as recounted in the book of Exodus. Moses holds out his staff and God parts the waters of the Yam Suph, Reed Sea. Once the Israelites have safely crossed, Moses drops his staff, closing the sea, and drowning the ensuing Egyptians. After the plagues of Egypt, the Pharaoh agrees to let the Israelites go, and they travel from Ramesses to Succoth and then to Etham on the edge of the desert, led by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. God causes the Pharaoh to pursue the Israelites with chariots, and the Pharaoh overtakes them at Pi-HaHiroth. When the Israelites see the Egyptian army they are afraid, but the pillar of fire and the cloud separates the Israelites and the Egyptians. The Egyptians pursued them, but at daybreak God clogged their chariot wheels and threw them into a panic, and with the return of the water, the Pharaoh and his entire army are destroyed. When the Israelites saw the power of God, they put their faith in God and in Moses, and sang a song of praise to the Lord for the crossing of the sea and the destruction of their enemies. The narrative contains at least 3 and possibly 4 layers. The Israelites' first journey is from Ramesses to Succoth. Ramesses is generally identified with modern Quantir, the site of the 19th dynasty capital per Ramesses, and Succoth with Tel El Maskuta in Wadi Tumalat, the biblical land of Goshen. None of these have been identified with certainty. One theory with a wide following is that they refer collectively to the region of Lake Timsah, a salt lake north of the Gulf of Suez, and the nearest large body of water after Wadi Tumalat. Lake Timsah was connected to Pithom and Gesem at various times by a canal, and a late 1st millennium text refers to Migdal Baal Zephon as a fort on the canal. Although this has traditionally been thought to refer to the saltwater inlet located between Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, known in English as the Red Sea, this is a mistranslation from the Greek Septuagint, and Hebrew Suph never means red, but rather sometimes means reeds. It is unknown for certain why the Septuagint scholars translated Yam Suph Eruthra Thalassa or Red Sea. One theory is that these scholars, who lived in Alexandria, Egypt during the 3rd century BC, specifically identified the Red Sea as we know it today because they believed this is where the crossing took place. Reeds tolerant of salt water flourish in the shallow string of lakes extending from Suez north to the Mediterranean Sea. Kenneth Kitchen and James Hoffmeyer state that these reedy lakes and marshes along the Isthmus of Suez are acceptable locations for Yam Suph. The ancient Yam Suph is not confined to the modern Red Sea. He also describes references to P3TWFY in the context of the island of Ammon, thought to be modern Tel El Balamun. Tel El Balamun was the most northerly city of Pharaonic Egypt about 29 kilometers southwest of Damietta, located at 31.2586 north, 31.5714 east. No archaeological, scholarly verified evidence has been found that confirms the crossing of the Red Sea ever took place.